This mission starts in the air. Please increase the throttle lever and use trim to level the aircraft. For now, keep the current heading and set an airspeed of 600 to 700 kilometers per hour at a 3,000 meters altitude. This will give us enough time to fully explain the landing procedures. On this mission, we will train on how to safely land the MiG-21 bis when using visual flight rules, VFR, which means clear weather and enough daylight that you can visually see the runway. On a future mission we will learn how to land under instruments flight rules, IFR. There are two main variants for a VFR landing, a straight-in approach, or an overhead brake. The latter is more complex to perform, but it allows a quicker and safer landing in potentially hostile areas. For this training we will employ the much simpler straight-in arrival, where the aircraft lines up on final approach from 14 kilometers out and gradually descends to the runway. A follow-on training mission will cover the overhead brake. To practice the landing we will employ the Wadi Abu Rish airbase, which you will have to radio contact and navigate towards it, and then perform a visual landing as instructed. The taxi to ramp and aircraft shutdown procedures will be optional. Press space bar to begin the training. As it is becoming darker, adjust the cockpit interior lighting using the highlighted knobs. You can also adjust the sight net brightness, reduce it so that it is barely visible. The warning panels can be set to their night setting, turning the highlighted knobs clockwise. Press spacebar once all the interior lighting is as desired. The first step for a successful landing is to locate our destination airbase, and we will achieve that with help from their air traffic control, ATC. Make sure the radio is tuned to channel 1, which on this mission is preset to the destination's ATC. Set the audio switch to radio, adjust the radio volume and then press the PTT button on the throttle. On the communications menu select F5, ATC, F3, Wadi Abu Rish. Note that the airbases are listed by our range to them, and finally F1, inbound.
Springfield 1, inbound.
Springfield 1, fly heading 108.50, QFE 733.91, runway 19, you pass altitude.
The tower will answer with the heading and distance to its landing approach point, and it will also inform runway 19 has been assigned. Note also the QFE at the destination, 734 millimeters of mercury. Press spacebar once you receive the ATC's answer, and press F12 to clear the communications menu. ATC told us that the landing approach point is on a heading of approximately 105 to 110 degrees. At a distance of 50 kilometers, turn the aircraft to that heading, now. Good, you are now heading towards the initial approach point of Abu Wadi Rish. Adjust your speed and altitude so that you will arrive to this IP at 500 kilometers per hour and 1,000 meters. Since runway 19 was assigned to us, set the 3K knob to 190 degrees, which is the approximate runway heading. The long extreme of the needle should point to 19 on the course indicator dial of the NPP. This way, when we are on final approach we will easily see how aligned we are with the runway. Adjust the altimeter, such that the pressure window marks 734, so that the altimeter will indicate altitude above ground once we are near the destination. While you fly towards the landing approach point, we will perform some steps of the before landing procedure. Please note that we will just review the steps 8 and beyond, as they are meant to be done later, during the actual landing approach. SPS switch, enabled, up. The MiG-21 bis is fitted with what's called blown flaps, or flaps with boundary layer control, or SPS as abbreviated on the English cockpit. This system takes air from the engine's compressor and blows it at high pressure over the top of the flaps, increasing lift considerably. Cutting the throttle during approach obviously results in no more air over the flaps, losing much lift. For this reason, never reduce throttle to less than the LND position during landing. Hydraulic pressure, check. It is needed for flaps deployment. It should be at least 210 kilograms per squared centimeter. Pneumatic pressure, check. It's used for the wheel brakes. It should be over 70 kilograms per squared centimeter. If it is lower, then you will need to use the emergency brakes after touchdown. Auto gear brake switch, on. This is the designation given to the anti-skid system of the wheel brakes. Make sure it is enabled. Nose wheel brake, on. Its lever should be horizontal. All armament switches, off. Pickle button should be guarded. Next we'll just review the remaining steps of the before landing procedure, as they only should be performed once you are on approach. Please do not carry them out yet. Landing gear lever, gear down below 550 km per hour, once you are on the landing approach. Please note that the MiG-21 has a lock on the lever, to avoid accidentally retracting the landing gear when the aircraft is on the ground. However, once on the air it is not necessary to operate the lock to extend the gear. Landing gear indicator, 3 green lights will confirm the landing gear actually extended. Hydraulic pressure, verify it returns to 210 kilograms per squared centimeter after the gear deployed. While the landing gear is extending, the hydraulic pressure light may illuminate briefly. Shoulder harness, after extending the landing gear, lock the harness. Cone position indicator, verify it has retracted. Inlet cone out light, verify it's gone off. Wheel brakes pneumatic pressure, make sure that there is no pressure in the wheel brakes, so that the wheels are not locked at touchdown. Flaps, at 450 km per hour extend the flaps in the takeoff position, refer to the light in the flaps position indicator, to make sure that the flaps are really extended. Extension of the flaps will cause a minor nose-up moment which you can counteract with the control stick. At 400 to 420 km per hour, lower the flaps in the landing position, by depressing the appropriate extension button. SPS, verify correct operation. When a speed of 360 to 380 km per hour is reached, make certain that the SPS system operates normally. The angle of attack on the indicator diminishes by 2 to 2.5 degrees when the SPS engages. Nozzle open light, verify it's off. This completes the before landing checklist. Press spacebar to continue. On this training we will employ the landing drag chute, even if our destination's runway length makes its use not necessary. The procedure for its use is as follows. After touchdown, wait until the nose wheel is firmly on the runway and your airspeed has dropped below 320 km per hour. Then deploy the drag chute by pressing its deployment button, or by pressing the P key. You can confirm its deployment by looking it up on the periscope mirror screen. Once you have decelerated to taxi speed, steer the aircraft to the cold side of the runway, which in our case is the left side, and then jettison the chute by pressing its guarded jettison button. Do this before vacating the runway. Press spacebar to continue the training. Continue flying on this heading, until you can see the destination airfield to our right. If you want, you can accelerate time with the keys left Ctrl plus Z. We will return time to normal when needed. The airbase should be visible at our right. Make a right turn to 190 degrees and follow that heading until you can see the airbase runways. Maintain an altitude of 1,000 meters AGL and reduce speed to 600 kilometers per hour. You are too fast. Deploy air brakes to reduce speed to 600 kilometers per hour. Align with the active runway, keep 1,000 meters altitude, and gradually reduce speed to 550 kilometers per hour to deploy the landing gear. You can employ the camera move up or down keys to get a better view of the runway when at high angles of attack. Once you get nearer the airbase, ATC will ask you to contact tower. At that point press PTT again, and then select F1, request landing. At 550 kilometers per hour, lower the landing gear. Once you get 3 greens, remember to return the lever to neutral. Turn on the landing lights. At 450 kilometers per hour, set flaps to their takeoff position, 25 degrees. At 400 kilometers per hour, set flaps to their landing position, 45 degrees. Increase throttle to maintain 380 kilometers per hour. Do not drop speed below 340.
Springfield 1, cleared for visual, contact tower.
Springfield 1, request landing.
Start flaring at 8 to 10 meters before reaching the threshold.
Runway 19.
Pass the threshold at 320 kilometers per hour and arrest your descent at 1 to 2 meters from ground. You will float for a few seconds, it is normal. Smoothly reduce throttle, touchdown at 260 to 280 kilometers per hour, keep your nose high until the main wheels are firmly on the ground. Touchdown. Deploy the drag chute. Check its deployment, looking on the periscope mirror. Proceed over the runway, towards the nearest available left side exit. Simultaneously, we will perform the after landing procedure. Flaps, up. Drop chute button, steer to the left side of the runway. Nose wheel brake switch, set to off, lever vertical, to have an easier steering ability. Pitot heat, off. Emergency heat, off.
Springfield 1.
This completes the after landing procedure. Press spacebar if you want to park and practice the MiG shutdown, or press backspace to finish the training at this point. Look at the airbase diagram, taxi the aircraft towards the nearest parking position, marked in light green on the diagram. Once at a proper spot, simply bring the aircraft to a full stop. This is taxiway November, proceed forward, towards the ramp. Finally, proceed to shut down the aircraft following the procedure. Switch off all electric loads, with the exception of the dispenser fuel tank pump, the engine afterburner, and the battery ground power switches. Begin with the circuit breakers panel on the right cockpit wall. Turn off the radar and the battery heater. On the left side of the cockpit, raise the flaps and turn off the highlighted systems. On the right console, turn off the highlighted switches. Throttle. Pull fully back, then click on its lock lever to move it into its stop position. Before the engine rotors come to rest, turn off the battery, the dispenser tank fuel pump, the afterburner, and the two PO750 inverters. Open canopy. Release its pressurization sealing lever. Unlock the canopy. Open it with its overhead handle. Shutdown finished. This training mission has been fully completed. Congratulations. Press spacebar to finish.